Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a magnetic pull in the workplace, effortlessly winning the admiration and support of their colleagues? It's not just about being charismatic or having a killer smile. It's a deeper game, a dance of psychology and influence often occurring below the conscious radar. Today we're delving into the fascinating world of dark psychology tactics. Now don't let the name scare you. It's not about manipulation or deceit. It's about understanding the intricate workings of human psychology and harnessing it to your advantage. It's about the subtle art of influence, the ability to navigate social dynamics and emerge as a leader, all without stepping on anyone's toes or causing harm. These are the tools that can help you gain an edge in the workplace, to rise above the competition and truly shine. Now let's unveil these 10 subtle tactics of dark psychology. Imagine a colleague who can convince anyone to do anything. How does he do it? Let's dive into the story of Mark, a successful salesperson. Mark is not just selling products, he's selling ideas, solutions, and dreams. He understands the power of persuasion. Mark knows that persuasion isn't about deceit or manipulation. It's about understanding people's needs, their desires, their fears, and their aspirations. And then, aligning what he has to offer with what they need. Take for instance the time he convinced an indecisive client to invest in an innovative but risky product. Mark didn't just present facts and figures. He painted a picture of a future where the client's company was at the forefront of innovation, leading the market and outpacing competitors. And that, my friends, is the art of persuasion. It's about understanding, empathizing, and aligning. Persuasion, as you see, isn't about pushing, but about pulling people towards your point of view. Remember the coworker who always brings you coffee and somehow you feel obliged to return the favor? This is the power of reciprocity, a psychological principle that compels us to repay what another person has provided us. Imagine your colleague, whom we'll call Alex. Every morning, Alex arrives at the office and hands out freshly brewed coffee. Over time you notice that you feel an unspoken obligation to reciprocate. Maybe you start bringing donuts on Fridays or covering for Alex when he needs to leave early. Subtly, Alex has used the power of reciprocity to create a network of favors, generating goodwill and influencing the workplace dynamics without anyone realizing it. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon extensively. They found that even a small gesture can trigger a sense of indebtedness, pushing us to repay the favor. It's a powerful tool that, when used ethically, can foster positive relationships and mutual respect. The power of reciprocity lies in the human need to return a favor. Ever noticed how people tend to follow the crowd? This phenomenon is known as social proof, a powerful tool for influence, especially in the workplace. Let's delve into a story about a savvy team leader named Alex. Alex had groundbreaking ideas that could revolutionize their department, but he needed to get his team on board. Instead of simply presenting his ideas, he started subtly. He first shared his thoughts with a couple of team members, who were known influencers in the group. As these individuals began to advocate for Alex's ideas, others in the team started to follow suit. This is social proof in action. Alex didn't force his ideas on anyone. Instead, he allowed the team to convince themselves by observing the approval of their peers. It's fascinating how we humans are wired, isn't it? People are more likely to follow the crowd, especially when the crowd is doing something they approve of. Have you ever done something just because you didn't want to miss out? Let's dive into the phenomena of fear of missing out, or FOMO, through the story of Lisa, a project manager. Lisa had a challenging project on her hands. She knew her team was talented but hesitant to take on additional work. To motivate them, she played on their FOMO. She spoke of the accolades and growth opportunities that would come with the project, subtly hinting at the regret they might feel if they didn't seize the opportunity. Intriguing, isn't it? Lisa's team, driven by the fear of missing out on a potentially rewarding experience, stepped up to the challenge. They didn't want to be left behind while others reaped the benefits. This, dear listeners, is the power of FOMO. It can push us out of our comfort zones, make us take on new challenges, and ultimately lead to personal and professional growth. FOMO can be a powerful motivator, especially when it comes to taking on new challenges. Ever met someone who can do no wrong in your eyes regardless of their actual behavior? We've all been there, and it's called the halo effect. Let's explore this through the story of a charismatic CEO. Let's call him Jack. Jack is known for his magnetic personality and inspiring speeches. His employees admire him, not just for his accomplishments but for his captivating charm. Despite some questionable decisions, Jack's charisma casts a halo of positivity around him, causing his team to overlook his flaws and focus only on his strengths. This is the halo effect in action. It's a psychological bias where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. It's powerful and pervasive, affecting our perceptions and judgments. Jack leverages this to maintain a positive image, even when his choices may not always be in the best interest of his team. The halo effect can make us overlook flaws and focus only on the positives. Ever felt the urge to grab the last piece of pizza even if you're not that hungry? This is the power of scarcity in action. Now let's imagine a coworker named Alex. Alex has a knack for being the go-to person for certain tasks. Not that he's the only one capable, but he's made himself seem like a scarce resource. He always takes on projects that only a few can handle, making his skills seem rare and invaluable. This cunning strategy is based on the principle of scarcity, a psychological tactic that capitalizes on our innate fear of missing out on something. When something is scarce, its value increases. This is why you might find yourself compelled to buy that last item on sale, even if you don't need it. In the workplace, Alex's tactic works because it creates a sense of urgency around his skills and increases the desire for his contributions. Scarcity can create a sense of urgency and increase desire. Ever found yourself agreeing with a popular opinion just because everyone else seems to agree? Picture this: your coworker, let's call her Sarah, is well-liked, charismatic, and seems to have a knack for rallying support. You're in a meeting, and Sarah proposes a new strategy. Instantly, several colleagues voice their approval. You have your reservations, but noticing the wave of agreement, you find yourself nodding along. Welcome to the seventh dark psychology tactic, the bandwagon effect. It's a powerful psychological phenomenon where we tend to adopt beliefs or behaviors because many others do the same. It's like being on a bandwagon swept along by the crowd. But remember, just because something is popular doesn't make it right or the best choice. Sarah may be using the bandwagon effect to her advantage, consciously or not. And you, my friend, might be riding that wave too. The bandwagon effect can make us go along with the crowd even if we have reservations. Ever noticed how people tend to respect and follow those in authority? Well, it's not just about the titles or the fancy corner offices, it's about the authority principle. Let's take the example of a manager. Let's call him John. John knew how to use the authority principle to his advantage. He didn't wield his power like a hammer, but rather, he used it subtly. John always made sure to lead by example, demonstrating his expertise and dedication at every turn. He would also take time to explain the reasons behind his decisions, providing clarity and showing respect to his team. This not only made his team see him as an authority figure, but also as someone they could trust and respect. The authority principle isn't about being a dictator. It's about showing that you're the knowledgeable leader who can guide others. It's about earning respect, not demanding it. Remember, authority can be a powerful tool for gaining respect and compliance. Ever bought something because it seemed like a great deal compared to the more expensive option? Let's dive into the story of a savvy negotiator named Alex. Alex, a seasoned business professional, knows the power of the contrast principle. He's about to negotiate a deal with a supplier, and he knows he needs to get the best price. Instead of jumping straight to his preferred price, Alex starts with an outrageously low offer. The supplier balks, of course, but Alex isn't surprised. He then presents his actual desired price. Compared to the initial lowball offer, this price seems much more reasonable, even though it's still lower than the supplier would prefer. Alex has effectively used the contrast principle, making his desired price appear more attractive by first presenting a less favorable option. This doesn't just work in negotiations, it's a tactic you can apply in various workplace situations. The contrast principle can make things seem more desirable when compared to a less favorable option. Ever agreed to a smaller request after declining a larger one? That's the essence of the door-in-the-face technique, our 10th and final tactic. Picture this: a persistent coworker. Let's call him Mark. One day, Mark approaches you with a huge request. He wants you to take over a major project that's not in your job description. Naturally, you decline. It's too much. Now Mark doesn't give up. He comes back with a smaller request, asking you to help him with just one aspect of the project. Suddenly, this smaller request doesn't seem so unreasonable. After all, it's not nearly as daunting as the initial ask. This, my friends, is the door-in-the-face technique in action. Mark made the smaller request seem much more reasonable by initially asking for something much larger. The door-in-the-face technique can make a smaller request seem much more reasonable after a larger one has been declined. So how can you use these tactics to your advantage? Let's recap. The power of influence allows you to guide others' actions subtly. The art of persuasion helps in convincing others to see things your way. The power of reciprocity leverages the human tendency to return a favor, while social proof uses the influence of the majority to shape opinions. Fear of missing out, or FOMO, can drive others to take action, while the halo effect can help you leverage a positive trait to influence perception. The power of scarcity makes something more desirable by highlighting its limited availability. The bandwagon effect encourages people to follow the crowd, while the authority principle leverages the power of perceived authority. The contrast principle helps you present options in a way that influences choice, and the door-in-the-face technique uses an initial large request to secure agreement on a smaller one. Remember, these tactics are not about manipulation, but about understanding and using human psychology to your advantage. Use them wisely and ethically.